Hello again, everybody. The next car that you've selected to view on ClassicMuscleCars.com is another new arrival. A new arrival here in the showroom, but an old arrival on the website. The car has been up for about 3 to 4 months, I believe, something like that. But, you know, we talk about it. Our cars go out and they have to be worked on. All the cars that we get here at ClassicMuscleCars.com, we send out to our shops and we do work to almost every car that comes here. This car is no exception. It came in and there was things that we needed to do. Excellent mechanically, a lot of things were done to the car. It's a 390 GT S-Code car, which is very rare, but it is now a Bullitt replica. This car was built with that theme in mind, and that's the way it is today. It's a factory 4-speed 390 S-Code car GT, which is extremely rare, and the Bullitt cars in 1968, and they had two, were both S-Code 390 cars with 4 speeds. Now this car has got aluminum heads on it. It's got the Edelbrock high perf aluminum head kit. We do have the original heads that go with it, and we have quite a few extra parts that goes with this car. Some of the original ones, and then some of the other parts such as the emblems and all of that, which are brand new. If you want to put them back on, you can. But the Bullitt car did not have any emblems, any trim on it. It was pretty much a plain stripped down car for the movie. That's the way this car was done. That's the way this car looks, and that's the way this car is set up. It's not over restored. This car looks the part of the car, just like the movie car in Bullitt. Now, Bullitt was one of the most famous chase scenes of all times in the history of movie production, and this was a chase scene that lasted, what, Jeremy, was 18 or 22 minutes?
Somewhere in that ballpark, a little less than that, I think.
Exactly. And we have talked about it in some of the, we had another video that we did because we had another car like this, and this particular car we just got finished. We do have a lot of things that goes with this car. I'll be going through that step by step with this. Now, it was kind of interesting this morning because Jeremy had a phone call, I believe it was last week, wasn't it, Jeremy?
It was on Friday, I believe.
And it was from a gentleman that was in California. His father owned a movie production company that actually worked on the film Bullitt with Steve McQUEEN. What he was involved in doing was working with originally the '68 Charger. His father had a manufacturing company that made swings, and they called him up because they need a coupler to be able to take the car down one of the hills and release it, and then it would go down and flip over and blow up and burn up, which if you watch the chase scene at the end, you know how all that happens. Now, from that, he became more involved in movie productions, and he started a movie production company called Atlas Motion Pictures, and that's what he was involved with, and he did a lot of things in terms of cars and stunts and so on and so forth. He was telling me also that they still have today the original Charger that was in the movie Bullitt. Now that's pretty unique. That's a pretty cool thing because we had lost track of that. Nobody knew where it was at, and now we know where it's at. There was a rumor that one of the original Bullitt cars was in New Jersey in a barn, and years ago, before Steve McQUEEN passed away, had tried to buy the car and it wasn't for sale, and supposedly that car is still in a barn in New Jersey. Now, that puts the two together. We now know where the black '68 Charger is at that was basically blown up and burned up in the movie. It was kind of neat because I was talking to him about it today, and he said that what they did in the film was they took the car and they took a tow truck, turned it over on its side, then they flipped it over on its top, and that crushed it. And, well, they had to speed that up, obviously, to make the car look like it was rolling. And then they had 20 gallons of gas in the gas tank, and they torched the car, and it completely burned up and disintegrated. He said he has the original gas cap from the Charger, and that's one of the only things that you could still look at and say, hey, this is a gas cap, and it came off the car. The rest of the car, they have it, but it's completely burned up, and just, as you can imagine, with 20 gallons of gasoline, they let it burn until it actually went out. So There's not very much left of it, but it is the car, and it was really cool for us to be able to find that out. And I talked to him. His name is Pat Dunn, and he's Pat Dunn Jr. His father was Pat Dunn Sr. So we've talked a little bit over the phone, and we're going to be talking with him later on down the road. We're going to do another show on Monday Night Muscle Car Mania, and he's agreed to be interviewed. So we're going to talk a little bit about the history of his father's involvement with a legendary movie with Steve McQueen, Bullitt. Now, we have quite a few other good things that's going with this car. Jeremy, we have Jeremy and I set all this up, and it's kind of hard for me to get through it, but it's kind of neat. This is a Muscle Car Review article in 1987 that goes over the greatest chase scene of all, and it has an article that's pretty thorough and in-depth about how this was put together. I think that's the most important thing. It's not just watching the movie, but it's how it was all filmed and done. That's what this article is about, and there's a lot of great facts in there. Now, there's also a DVD that's out right now that was made about the behind the scenes with the filming of Bullitt, and that is what this is, and it goes over the action of behind the scenes and how they did some of the scenes, and they show you how they do that in detail. Also, there's some history there about Steve McQueen and some of the other people that was in the movie. So this is a real cool thing to have. Another thing that we have that was pretty unique that comes along with this car, it's a article that was in, I believe, December of '98 in Motor Trend, and this is called Dangerous Pursuit. And again, this goes over the behind the scenes filming of Bullitt. So you get a lot of facts that you won't normally see or hear about that's in some of these articles, and a little insight to Steve McQueen. Now, Steve McQueen was really a gearhead. Many of you probably don't know, but Steve McQueen was actively racing back in the 60s. He loved cars. He loved to go out and drive cars very hard and very fast. When he was doing the movie Bullitt, he wanted to do most of the scenes himself, but what happened was the producers were fearful of his safety, obviously, so they came down to the movie set and they said, well, you know, Steve, we don't want you to be able to do this, so we're going to put a stuntman in. So he got really ticked off, and he got in a little fight with one of the movie producers. So, and it wasn't just a yelling situation.
He smacked the guy, didn't he?
He smacked the guy, yeah. So I mean, he was really a true tough guy. I mean, he was, you know, he got set off and he went off like a bullet. Let's put it that way. So anyway, that's part of the some of the history with the filmmaking of Bullitt. Now, also with this car, and this came from England, we have a photograph of Steve McQueen, and it's also his signature down here on the bottom, autograph. So that's a cool thing. So Jeremy will show you this a little bit more in detail, but that also goes with this Bullitt replica Mustang. Now, we also have some of the Bullitt cars that are available right now, and this is kind of neat because, as we talked about with some of the other movie cars, we had the Yenko movie car that was from Too Fast, Too Furious here. It's kind of neat to be able to walk into a store or be able to order something today that relates to this particular car or cars from the era, from the movie Bullitt. It's it's a cool thing. If you can go in a store and be able to buy this, and here you've got the car, it's really something to have. And you know, it's amazing. I was thinking about it. We're getting ready to do this today, and I'm kind of thinking about all the things about Bullitt, and I realized, you know, that movie was filmed in 1968, and we're 4 years away, or 3 years, from the 40th anniversary of the film. And it's still as popular today, if not maybe more so, than it was when it was originally released. And it's not just popular here in the United States, it's popular worldwide. Big fans of Steve McQueen and this chase scene, for example, is England. And if you follow our videos, we just had a gentleman here that purchased a car from us from England. and he was talking about the car scene over there. So there is a lot of things that are going on in different parts of the world that relate to what we're doing here in this country, and this proves it out. Now, we have a model by Revell, and this is another Steve McQueen Bullitt Mustang to put together. You know what's kind of neat about this, Jeremy? Also, I was looking at this, and we have skill levels here. It's age 10 plus. Now, I don't know what that says to you, but you know what it says to me? It says that if they're putting it on the boxes, right, the skill levels, and this one is recommended for 8 plus, right, 8 years old. It's kind of neat, right? Because we're getting the younger kids involved in something that happened so long ago. So that's getting excitement renewed into the classic muscle cars of the era of the 60s. I mean, that's just a way cool thing. Now, you've seen some of the, probably the commercials that are out for the 2005 Mustang. Well, one of those commercials are filmed where there's a combine out cutting down the cornfield, and once he gets it done, it's like a dirt track, and all of a sudden Steve McQueen walks out of the corn. It's a takeoff of the movie that was out, what was the name of that, Jeremy? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Field of Dreams, that's it. Anyway, that's a takeoff of that, but it's really cool because you see Steve McQueen walking out with his coat on, just like he's going to get into this car, but instead he gets into a 205 Mustang and he takes off. You know, very hard and fast. And it's cool because that's what it's all about. I gotta applaud Ford for doing what they did, because they have brought back the Mustang in a retro design that reminds you of 1967, 68 fastback cars. They look similar to that. They have that kind of a retro look, and they're doing a great job with publicizing it and getting it out and advertising it the way that they're doing. And it's just a fantastic thing, because when that happens, that also renews the interest in the older cars. And the fastback Mustangs, 65, 66, 67, and 68, are extremely popular today. They are coming up in value at an incredible rate. They are a car that is a good car to get into for an investment, because for years those cars were there, but they made more they made more coupes than they did fastbacks, and they made more convertibles. So that was the cars that most people you saw driving around. The fastbacks, they didn't make a whole lot of them when they produced them, because they didn't sell as many as they did the coupes and the convertibles. Now these cars are extremely rare, extremely hard to find, and they're extremely popular. Not only from the movie Bullitt, but also from the movie Gone in 60 Seconds with Eleanor. So that has brought back a tremendous amount of interest in the fastbacks, and now that the 2005 Mustang is out on the street, you're going to see more and more of those cars as they come along, and more of those cars as they get sold. And I do have some inside information. I heard a rumor from someone high up in Ford that in 2006 they're coming out with a motor that they're going to have a high-performance motor to compete with the new Corvette that's out. So I got to tell you, you know, Ford is really doing it cool. They're doing a lot of things to bring back the interest and the retro look with a lot of other cars. So they're doing a great job. And we talked about this before. Same thing with Chrysler. Chrysler has done a lot to bring back some of the old names and resurrect it. And it's similar to what Ford is doing right now with the 205 Mustang. So this is a great opportunity for somebody to get into, a fun car to have. And I guarantee anywhere you go with it and you show it and you have all of the memorabilia that comes with this car, people are going to remember seeing Bullitt, because I don't know of too many people who are gearheads that haven't watched the movie Bullitt. Now, I'll just point out to you, and Jeremy can show you this a little bit more in detail. This one Bullitt Mustang has kind of been abused like it was in the movie, and Jeremy will probably be able to photograph it here with the video camera enough to where you can see that it looks like it's hit a guardrail and stuff. And you know, that's just the way that one is, and it was done especially like the car in Bullitt. That's how that particular model was recreated. Jeremy showed you this in the beginning. That poster goes with this. Now I have something that's really unique here, and I'm going to try to get this out to where we can take a look at it. This is actually a lithograph that was made of the famous chase scene in Bullitt. It's really cool. It's signed and dated by the artist. It was really a cool litho here, and it's numbered. So this is something that needs to be framed, but it looks, look at the car up here in this corner. It looks exactly like the one I'm standing in front of. It's just awesome. This is really a cool piece. I haven't seen anything like that, and I've been around to a lot of car shows and auctions and things like that, and I've never seen anything done like this. And if you follow our videos here, we like artwork, so we like this kind of artwork tremendously, right, Jeremy?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, getting back to the conversation that I had with Pat Dunn today, I forgot to mention this. It was kind of neat. His father worked on the movie production with George Lucas on American Graffiti, which is another legendary classic muscle car film that really, back when that came out, there wasn't a whole lot of interest in muscle cars because, unfortunately, of the gas crunch. Things had kind of tapered off. They weren't making the cars in the early 70s, and people were actually trading the cars in to find cars that were a little bit more economical to run. So when the movie came out, American Graffiti, I remember I went to the theater and I watched it, and I came back and I was just like so wound up. I was wanting to get out, and it was like in the middle of January. It was cold out, and I wanted to start doing a burnout and a race somebody, or just get out and do it, because American Graffiti was like it really was back in the day when these cars were out on the street. You'd get out and you'd drive around, you'd get into a race, you'd be out on a hot summer night, you'd have fun, you'd go out and you'd meet your friends at a drive-in, go to the movie theater, whatever. It was a great time that we had with these cars. And that's what American Graffiti, I believe, started to get back the muscle car movement and the muscle car era, because I had never left it, but a lot of people had at that time when that movie came out. But talking about one of the stars that were in that movie was the Milner's Coupe, the 32 Ford. Well, that particular car, and I've seen copies and reproductions of it here and there and all over, but that original car, Pat told me this morning, his father had an opportunity to buy that, and he turned it down for $1,400 back right after the movie was done. So he thought it was a little bit too high, and he said at the time they couldn't even sell the car. And I was kind of speculating today, wondering about how much that car may be worth if you had the original American Graffiti car that Milner had used in the film for American Graffiti. So quite a bit more than $1,400. So the moral of the story is that these cars keep going up in value. They don't go down. So I'd like for you to give Ed a call. He can answer all the questions on this car. Call him at 847-526-5950. He can take some more pictures. Jeremy's going to go around and show you some of this memorabilia that goes with this car, and Ed can answer any of the questions that you have about our 1967 Mustang Fastback GT 394-speed Bullitt replica.
Well, there it is. This is one good-looking car. Paint is beautiful on this. Let's go for a walk around. It was pretty interesting that Pat Dunn gave a call last week about one of our other cars. We got to talking, and he had mentioned that his dad was involved with the Bullitt movie shoot, and that led to a whole long conversation between Tony and Pat today. That paint is just absolutely beautiful. That's a good shot of our neon reflected in the hood. One of our walls of neon. Or even better, we can get Maryland there. Let's take a look on the inside. Looking at the back seat. Beautiful condition. There's the fold down. Let's put a couple of speakers back there. Door panels are beautiful. Get some nice Mustang floor mats. Nice Hurst shifter. That looks like they put in a fresh Speedo. Guess it's reading 170. No, I'm sorry, 1709. Some sort of radio in the radio spot there. Very nice. Let's pop the hood. And here under the hood, looking really, really nice. It does have the aluminum heads, and those are Edelbrocks, and the aluminum intake, the Performer. There's no advance on the distributor. Nice and clean. And in front we have the rally light package there. Chrome in the bumper is really beautiful. Let's go check out the trunk. And I've conveniently left it open. Inside, let's grab the light so we can see what's cooking here. Lots of boxes. Inside box number 1, some gaskets and something from a Hurst shifter. Chris and Sean here can grab this. Here, Sean. Thank you. Here's a box from Hooker headers. Not quite sure precisely what this is. Oh, it's an exhaust flange. Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you. We have an antenna. Miscellaneous assorted emblems. Oh, these are letters. That says Ford. There's Mustang and another Mustang and another emblem with a 390. Oopsie. Awesome. Maybe just set that inside there. Sun visors. Spare cover. (1967) Mustang license plate frame. Some neoprene hose. A nice catalog, some wires and lots of bolts. Some kind of steering linkage type stuff there. Before we close it up, I'm going to have a quick look on the inside here. As you can see, it looks nice and clean. Nice fresh mat. Someone put the speakers back there. There they are. The deck lid's looking very nice. And the soft seal here is fresh. Looking very nice indeed. Now let's get the boys to put this stuff back in the trunk. Chris and Sean have very nicely put all that stuff back in here. Now let's look at all this stuff that comes with the car. First, here, Sean, I'll let you hold this picture like that. Except I need to have it like tilted forward so that there's no reflection on it. Very good. Stay right there. Now this is an autographed. There's Steve McQueen's autograph. Nice picture. Now the next piece that we have here, Chris, why don't you just come on over here. Grab the DVD. Let's see what the DVD is. Hold it up so people can see it. That's the Bullet DVD. Thank you. Is this the Bullet one? Oh no, this is the making of Bullet. Thank you very much. Here's the December 98 Motor Trend magazine that has that article that Tony was showing you in it. And taking advantage of the table of contents, there's the article, Dangerous Pursuit, which shows the same poster that we have right here. Gentlemen, could you stand aside, please? Thank you. There's our poster. And it shows the very same poster right there. I'll have to read this because I can. Well, yeah, it shows the cars in the midst of filming it after they've been banging up against each other. I got to look at this one here. Tony was saying now this Mustang. Let's get a closer look at this. Yeah, Chris, grab that the model there, please, and hold it in the light so we can see this. Yes, this car has obviously been doing some side swiping there. This is a 1/18th scale model. Cool. Another piece here is from Muscle Car Review, March of '87, The Greatest Chase of All. I'll have to read this. It's the original article from the magazine. Now this tie-dye piece, this tie-dye thing here does not go with it. This is one of Tony's things. Here's another Revell model. Ages 10 plus, skill level 2. That's without the door banging and stuff. Now these are logo caps here. And these all have, let me see if I can zoom in on that. These all say Bullet on them for your valve caps on the tires. Now this piece is also very nice. I'm going to have Chris and Sean hold this open for me. One moment. All right, Chris and Sean have done a great job of taking this and opening it up. There's the Charger in our famous Mustang. Very nicely done. And there's the autograph on this. Frederick, 1 of 98. And The Greatest Chase. Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Well, that's about it for right now. And there it is, 1967 Bullet replica.